Hi, this is Thomas Asphalt. I bring you greetings in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. I'm here to talk to our corporation members and our board members from the Association Retreat Center. This will be a summary conversation about the strategic discussion the board and the members of the corporation who were at the Ark on Saturday, May 16th. The discussion that we had, decisions that were made, strategic goals, objectives, and tactics and initiatives that we as a group decided are a priority for our pursuit. I bring you greetings and provide this discussion on behalf of the board chairman, Roger Van Semmeren, other board members, Dan Ballman, Dennis Parsley, Eric Westlake, who has recently resigned from the board. We wish him well and thank him for his many years of service to the Ark, and myself, Thomas Asphalt. This hopefully will be the first in a not infrequent communication to you via video, so we can communicate some of our topics of discussion and our purposes and goals and requests of you as board and corporation members as you serve the Ark in your ministry at the Association Retreat Center. Well, as we met as a board on that Saturday morning for quite some hours, matter of fact, we had to end because we got hungry and the Ark food was awaiting us. So we discussed for perhaps 3 hours future of the Ark and things that we need to do to ensure the long-term viability of the Association Retreat Center. And as we discussed what was our primary strategic goal, that is indeed what I just communicated, that our primary strategic goal is to ensure, strategic goal, is to ensure that the Ark is around for generations to come. Ensuring the long-term viability of the Association Retreat Center. So naturally, the first question that we'd probably have when we say ensuring the long-term viability of the Ark, the question would be, is the Ark at risk? And the answer to that would be, in the short term, no. In the medium term, possibly. In the long term, certainly. As we look at the Association Retreat Center, the amount of revenue that comes in from those who are staying for events at our missionary center at the Ark, and the number of donor dollars that come in each year, there's soon going to be a gap to allow us to maintain and improve or replace buildings at the Ark that is now a property that is pushing 65 to 70 years of age. In the short term, we certainly have adequate resources to maintain the property in its current state, but with buildings that are 60 and 70 years old, the deterioration rate is starting to increase. Some of those buildings will need major renovation or replacement. And that will become a risk soon in several years if we do not address that early on. So one of our goals is, or our key goal is to start to address those issues now while we have an opportunity to do so, where we're not pressured by timeline or significant risk, and we're looking for your support and your help along the way. When we think about the strategic goal, there are really four strategic initiatives that go along with this goal. So this is kind of where the work comes in. So ensuring the long-term viability of the Ark is something that I think we all agree is important, but how are we going to do that? First area, and we identified 4 specific priorities for the Ark. There are many things that we could indeed pursue, many opportunities, but these are the 4 that we've decided are the most important and are the highest priority for us at the Association Retreat Center. One is securing a consistent, reliable financial stream to the retreat center. We're in great fortune that about 70% of our need is funded by those people who come to the Ark for events and stay there through their daily charges for attending a camp or workshop or retreat, what have you, at the Ark, and that's great. But about 30% of our need is provided or needs to be provided by donor dollars outside of those charges for staying at the camp or the retreat center. So specifically, we're thinking about, I'm going to change color here just so it looks a little different. One of our key objectives is debt service. The ARC currently has approximately 180, that would be wonderful, $1.8 million of debt. And so our goal is to decrease debt by 1/3 in 10 years. And that equals about $550,000. Next objective is to increase annual, so this would be year over year, annual donor dollars to the ARC by $150,000. These two are indeed tied together. If we increase donor dollars by $150,000 a year, that will give us approximately $310,000 per year of donor dollars. So our goal total is $310,000. Those are great goals, I think very important goals. We have a lot of work to do yet on how to reach those. In some of the part as we kind of talk about this is really the context. So how do you break down those number of dollars? And one thing to think of it as, there are 270 AFLC congregations, or about 30,000 AFLC members. In our association. So it's about $1,000 per congregation, $10 per member that we are seeking to reach annually to help support the mission of the ARC. And so we're going to, as the board and the corporation works on this effort, this is going to be a significant area of our focus, and how to reach all the churches in our association and all the members and encourage giving to the mission field of the Association Retreat Center. At the same time, obviously, communicating and showing the great work that's being done, the lives that are saved through Jesus Christ at the work of the Retreat Center. So this is initiative number 1. Initiative number 2 do you feel like you're back in school? Initiative number 2 is right sizing of the campus. So we are just initiating a strategic facility plan for the Association Retreat Center, so that we make sure that we have the right buildings, the right size, the right scope, the right function, and efficiently laid out and supported, so that we can maximize the efficiency of the ARC, minimize the expense to maintain the buildings, and that we only have buildings that we use consistently and regularly for up to our largest events that come on the campus. And so what does that look like? It may look like things that may happen in right sizing the campus. Could mean a remodel. Could mean removing or tearing down a building. Could mean changing how a building is used. Or it could mean building a new building. Several early examples, things that we wish to pursue at the outset. Number 1 is the canteen and the office. And I'm just going to give you some examples of things that we're looking at in this master plan for the campus. This is not all encompassing. With the campus that's has 600 beds and many, many buildings and 80 acres. This is a long process to right size the campus. But the canteen and the office on the ARC's campus we wish to combine. So currently now, if you know the ARC, if you're a Corp member or a board member, I'm assuming that you do, when you drive into the campus, the first building that you would run into would be the canteen. Which also has our nurse's office in there. That building is one of our more energy efficient buildings. It's been updated on the interior. It is actually a warm, light space. And so our desire is to move the office from its current location into the canteen building. We would be relocating the air conditioning system from the current office building onto the canteen, putting up some new walls for private offices in the back where there's currently a meeting room that's not utilized, turning the nurse's office or the nurse's suite into 3 cubicle spaces, putting the reception desk out in the current open area in the canteen, leaving the canteen where it is. Some of the benefits of this would be, as you enter in the campus, the first building you run into would be the office. It's a natural place for people to stop and get out, to register for their event, to ask questions. It allows the canteen and the gift shop to be open more hours during the day, as there is a receptionist in the space that can serve the needs of those wishing something from the canteen or buying a shirt from the ARC. So much more efficient. It's also a more efficient place for staff to work. The current office now is essentially one large room. It's sometimes difficult to focus on work and easily to be distracted with the many people coming and going in the office. So we think it'd be a great improvement for staff morale, efficiency in the building. The old office, what we do with that? That question is on the table, that's unanswered. Perhaps it's a building that comes down. Perhaps it's a building that's repurposed. Another example of right sizing the campus is managing risk. With a property that is 65 years old, there are several areas on the campus that are really risky for our employees and our campers. We want to minimize any risk for those people that work at the ARC or are there all the time and those who come to visit or at a retreat center. And so, for example, we might have a building that has items that have been in those buildings for 50 years. Those are things that we want to clean out, recycle them if they have any value, discard them if they don't, so that it's perhaps even a building that's empty and open and ready to be repurposed, but not something where someone gets in looking for something and has an injury, which of course increases the financial risk of the ARC. Other risk areas that we have some stairwells that are frankly unsafe for staff to go up and down. They need to have some safety barriers applied to those areas so that they're not at risk of falling or getting injured when they're working in workspace. So that's an example of how we want to address risk on the campus. Another example would be the shops on campus. There are 4 or perhaps 5 different areas where the maintenance staff work and are able to work on projects that need to be done to maintain the campus. Unfortunately, they're not all in the same building or the same location. So one project might require one of our maintenance staff to go between 2, 3, and 4 buildings to use the tools, to find supplies, to work on the project that we're working on. So if we're able to take all of our shops and combine them into one location, a location that's efficient as far as workflows in the building, it's efficient for heating and cooling, that's going to increase our efficiency of our staff a great deal. And staff that really is very thin on our campus. We don't have a lot of employees, and they all work hard. They're greatly dedicated to the mission of the ARC. And addressing these back of stage, as we call it, issues, places that most people who come to the ARC don't see, is going to increase efficiency from heating and cooling. That decreases our costs, increase efficiency for employee hours worked so that they're more able to be the most productive in their time there, and also improve the work environment and also safety issues. Some of our buildings there are 65 years old. Well, actually, most of our buildings are 65 years old. And a building like the motor pool, for instance, which is our largest shop, is at a state where it's not any longer worth salvaging and needs to be torn down and replaced. So those are some examples we think about right-sizing the campus and things that need to be done for the long-term viability of the Association Retreat Center. Initiative number 3, missionaries. And I'm blending both capital and lowercase letters. If you're an English teacher, I apologize for that. The Association Retreat Center is indeed a mission field in the middle of the United States of America. 85% of the people who come to an event and spend time at the Ark are non-AFLC members. And many of those are also non-church people. So it is indeed a mission field. We have many, many lives that are brought to Christ at the Ark each year. We have many people who are renewed. There are people who are first exposed to the message of Jesus Christ and the love that's shared by the staff at the Ark in this mission field. So our desire is to increase the number of missionaries who serve at the Ark. Specifically, all the members of the board and the corporation were asking, frankly, not just asking, but expecting those members to come and spend time at the Ark. Whether that's helping with an event on a weekend, or it's helping with a work project, or perhaps it's even putting together a mission team from your own home congregation and coming to the Ark for a week and working on a project, serving a camp, and spreading the love of Christ to those who are at the Association Retreat Center, and giving much needed relief to the employees who work at the Ark and support for the work that they lovingly pursue at the Retreat Center. So increasing missionary activity on the Association Retreat Center also helps us decrease the amount of paid staff or additional paid staff that would be needed for a camp of this size. And then branding. Branding ties exactly to what I just talked about from the missionary perspective. The Association Retreat Center indeed is a mission field, and that's how we desire and want to continue to brand it. And branding is certainly a secular business term, but really what it means is defining the Association Retreat Center for what it actually is, and that is a mission field in the United States. So as we talk about the Ark, we're not going to talk about it as a camp. It really is not a camp. It's a retreat center for people to be exposed to Jesus Christ, for people to rest. And that's the perspective, or that's the position that we wish the Ark to be seen in continuing going forward, but from a very secure position. So this is 17 minutes of your time today to help just oversee what from a high level our priorities are at the Association Retreat Center. For you, our board members and our Corp members, we thank you for your willingness to volunteer as board and Corp members. And now these are the pieces that we really are looking for you in those roles to help us at the Association Retreat Center. You will be getting more communication from us, being asked to serve in different capacities to pursue these initiatives and tactics, and we thank you for your service. I want to point out that I am being recorded live from the studio of Peter Audall.
That's right.
Here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And Peter is also a Corp member and has spent a lot of time at the Ark, as well as 9 months of an internship.
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
And so I thank him for his time here to help us with that. So we're going to have a little tag team question and answers.
Yeah, so one thing that I think it would be good to talk about is the Ark, is that supported anyway financially by the AFLC?
Oh, yes, correct. Thanks. It's a great question. So as we as AFLC congregations, we provide financial support to the Association of Free Lutheran Churches. And then the AFLC provides stipends to things like home missions and world missions. The Ark does not receive a stipend from the AFLC. And our board, your board, has specifically voted to say and make a statement that we will not be pursuing a stipend from the AFLC. A couple of reasons that we've done that. One, as I said earlier, about 70% of our income, we're fortunate we have regular income from those who attend an event at the Ark. And at the same time, we're interested in partners donating specifically with the heart for the Ark and for that ministry, for a missionary field there. So we do not receive a stipend from the AFLC, and that will not be occurring in the future.
Okay. That's actually really good to know. As far as right-sizing the campus, I know there are some of us that have been around, I think the Ark has been in the AFLC 30 years now, I think, something like I know it's over 30 years, actually. 2009 was 30 years. But when it comes to downsizing the buildings and things like that, I think one thing that I was enlightened to was the fact that maybe you can expound on that a little bit more about some of the, restructuring the buildings.
Sure.
And why would we be doing that?
Sure. Yeah, so restructuring the buildings has several purposes. One, making sure we have the right space for the people that we serve. And we serve primarily adults, and we serve them throughout the year. As we talked about branding the Ark is not as a camp. When you think about a camp, most camps are open 3 months in the summer, mostly volunteer help, and they're shuttered the rest of the year. The Association Retreat Center serves our people and our members and our participants year round. So we want to make sure we have the right facility for our population that we serve.
Okay.
At the same time, every piece of property that we have has to be insured, has to be maintained, has to be heated and cooled. And sometimes, perhaps, again, we're starting this process of a capital improvement plan, but some of those buildings are probably unnecessary. So it'd be less expensive for us in the long term to simply eliminate them.
Right.
No insurance per square foot, no maintenance, no new roofs or paint or that sort of thing. No heating and cooling to maintain them. So you remove them so the campus is efficient.
Okay. And theoretically, if that was to happen down the road, if we needed a new building, we could actually build something that was
correct.
appropriate.
Correct. Yep.
So,
Yep.
okay. That's good to point out. Missionaries, actually, this is one thing I was going to point out. Missionaries.
Oh, mission wares. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Awesome. Well, actually, that's now an upside down. And
okay.
So that's. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Missionaries coming to the... There's, I think it's maybe, and maybe you know more about this than I do. There are some people who do come to the Ark and like stay there from time
Absolutely.
to time.
Yep.
And
Actually, we have a gentleman. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, who comes up from Illinois every year. Sometimes stays for 2-3 weeks and just serves at the Ark. He works and does all kinds of maintenance, repairs, fixing whatever the Association Retreat Center and what Pat says. And I just realized I didn't mention Pat till this very moment in time. That is awful.
Pat.
Yes, as I said, Pat Flanders, you the man. We're doing this for you to help you out. And if you know Pat, many of you do, or perhaps all of you know Pat, give him a pat on the back. He's doing a great job there with the team. But so we do have people that come to serve. It's their mission field. There's a team also, I think it's also from Illinois. Must be a great state. That comes for a week every year. Church group comes, half a dozen or more men. And they might come one year and they put a roof on a building. They might come run one other year and work on another project. Again, it's their mission field in the U.S. They come and work.
Okay. That's a good thing to point out.
Yeah.
I'll actually maybe piggyback off this a little bit when it
Okay.
comes to this. One thing that I'll bring up, if it's possible, I was not able to attend the last one, but when the board and the Corp met this last time, that was actually over a work weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
And
a spring work weekend.
And I can attest the fact that when you get all these people together at one time, it's amazing to see what happens. So I encourage you that at the very least, that's just a great way that you can help contribute and get along other people that are the same mindset, talking about how they can help the Ark. So, branding.
That's your thing.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
I'll give a quick little update. I'll give a little shout out to Dan Shilson as well, and not. Just keep in mind, Dan. I mean, everybody at the Ark is just they have their own specific thing that they're kind of assigned to, but at the same time they're doing everything. So it's like this intermix all the time. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Dan, who this last men's retreat, helping, and I know Mary did part of it, and Pat, all that type of stuff, but organizing all these AFLC camps that we have at the Ark. Not to mention also marketing and talking with all the other groups, because actually, what's the percentage of?
85% are non-AFLC.
85% are non-AFLC, and that's incredibly enlightening. Just to realize that, okay, it's not just AFLC; it is actually way more than AFLC. But the majority is not AFLC. So thinking about that, there's a lot of groups that have partnered with the Ark and then come there and. This vision is not just for the AFLC. This is actually for the ministry as a whole. And we talk about how this is a area in the middle of the United States where people come. I can attest the fact that my time in 2009, you could stand in one area and you could listen to almost 3 different languages speaking at one time in the Ark, and it's really kind of a really cool sensation thinking that. But Dan and I are working on trying to help marketing wise, and we're kind of initially tackling some of the great opportunities that we have here in 2015, branding wise, and trying to highlight this. We actually have Lifelight not Life Flight. Oh my goodness.
Sunshine
Festival. Sunshine Festival, a big Christian music festival that's actually coming 10 miles within the Ark. And the cool part about that is it's going to allow us to not only work with the directors there of Sunshine Festival and get to know them and kind of start building relationships there, but it's going to help us build relationships with, honestly, kind of our target demographic to a certain extent. People in the region coming there and also being able to stay at the Ark. So that's something we're really excited about. And so I guess that's my little update on the branding marketing side of things. We still have a long ways to go. We're looking at different systems to, as we talk about reducing buildings and things like that, we're trying to actually find ways that we can reduce the time, things that Dan has to do and things like this would be more efficient, and try to take care of using some of this digital media space that works for us 24 hours a day while we're sleeping even. So anyways, more to come on that probably. But
Great.
Yeah, anything I think that's I
We got it covered.
I think we got it covered.
So if you have questions, reach out to one of your board members, and reach out to me, Roger, Dennis, Dan. Eric, as I said, is off the board, and we'll be glad to give you more information about things we're thinking about. If there's something that you think, hey, that's a great idea, that really fits with me really well, I want to serve there, how can I serve there well? Then you just need to pick up the phone or send us an email or text message, and we'll get you connected. So thank you again from the Ark. We give you it's a great honor to serve in this capacity, and thanks for coming along with us.
Yes. All right, everybody.